The sun's making everything a little warmer, and I'm feeling a little peppier. And the spring produce is finally coming out of the ground. That means we can take advantage of these tender greens for a very low price. And I'm gonna show you how to make a delicious risotto with a farro twist. It's gonna be creamy and delicious, and it's gonna help spring us into the new season. Life can be a struggle, but a good meal doesn't have to be. We can make creative, nutritious, and inventive dishes that won't break the bank. Welcome to Struggle Meals. It's springtime, all of the chlorophyllc green is coming back into the planet, and asparagus and peas are at their prime. They're most delicious right now, and they're cheapest. So we should cook with them right now. And what better way to celebrate the freshness of spring than with a spring vegetable risotto, or in this case, a farro. More on that in a moment. So I'm starting off with a vegetable broth. And you've been watching this show, so you know that I save all the ends of all the vegetables that I'm cooking. And you should too, because you paid for them after all. These still have flavor, and they're perfect for something like a stock. So, throwing them in, throw water in, nice and cold on top, and let's bring this to a simmer for about 2 hours. We got asparagus, we've got some English peas here, and we've got leeks. These are gonna be great in a spring risotto. Now look, the window of opportunity for the peas is quite small, and if you buy them pre-shelled, it's gonna cost you a lot more money. So have yourself some fun, open them up, and you can take the shells and you can use these for next time's broth. Now, the asparagus. You know, when they're really young in spring, they're really thin, they're very tender, they're very delicious. There still is a stalky end though, and in general, it'll snap at the spot. This you don't wanna eat, stock bucket. We're just gonna try and get equal-sized pieces that really celebrate the vibrance of this. I once had an Italian grandma say to me, the secret to great risotto is leeks. So we're using leeks. It's in the onion family, the allium family. We can really only use the white part. All this for next time's broth. Now keep in mind these grow out of the ground this way, so they can get a little sandy. Cut it in half the long way here, and just, you know, investigate if there's sand in there or not. And actually, I do see some sand. So I'm gonna rinse these. Just pour a little water. Kind of run your fingers through them. Try to get the sand out. Okay, so we're just gonna slice up the leeks real quick. Nice and thin, want them to dissolve. We're gonna saute that in the pan. But first, we gotta strain our stock. It smells like it's ready. Here we go. We have extracted so much flavor out of our vegetables that probably would have gone into the garbage, but I didn't allow that to happen, and you don't either. This is going back into the pot to stay warm, and I have not seasoned it. I'm gonna season in the risotto towards the end. It's just gonna be better. Getting 3 packets of butter in there. Let's get a little bit of olive oil in the pan. We want a nice fat layer here. Let me just chop up this garlic real quick. There's the leeks. Here comes some garlic. A little bit of seasoning. Let's talk about risotto for a second. This is a Northern Italian classic. It's creamy and it's wonderful. Before we get started though, I'm actually using farro instead of risotto rice. Risotto rice, it really can only do one thing, make risotto. But farro, I mean, I could boil this in water and make a cold salad with it, or I could make a risotto with it. Nay, a farro. This is how it works. Straight in, and we're gonna give it a little toast. So now we got the fat of the butter and the olive oil, and that is starting to awaken the farro, which is dry. Now we begin risottoing. We've got our warm broth, we grab, and we wanna just cover the farro. We'll keep this at a simmer. The water will evaporate away, and all the nutrients we extracted from our scrap stock bucket, those are getting forced into the farros. So, see how dry it is already? Once that happens, you either go straight in with stock again, or in my case, I'm gonna use a little white wine. I always do it as the second liquid. Optional step, but it is superior with a little white wine. Now, this is gonna cook for about 35 minutes. You're gonna add the liquid every 5-ish minutes. Is this cooked? Is it edible? Yes. So that means now we've got to throw in our spring vegetables so they can just come up to temperature, get vibrant and green. And so now, what I'm looking for is asparagus that have cooked all the way through but are still toothsome. Really want to celebrate the freshness of spring, and that means not overcooking them. 2 things are gonna happen when this hits the plate. 1, there's still a lot of heat, so the farro is gonna keep absorbing liquid. 2, we add cheese. That's also gonna drive down how much liquid is in the pan. So I'm coming in with my ladle, believe it or not, and when this hits the plate, I don't want it to be a mound. I want it to ooze out. That's the texture I'm looking for. If it becomes a mound, put it back in the pan, add a little more liquid. It should have some jiggle to it, and it moves. Yes, it is fluid. Quickly hit it with a little more cheese. Gorgeous. At this point, we could hit it with some fresh herbs. It's totally optional, but if you've got an herb garden growing, I think this is a great time to take a withdrawal. So let's hit it with some parsley, which is like one of my favorite wintertime herbs, and then we'll hit it with some basil, which is one of my favorite summertime herbs, and together, they are converging on spring. Here's some basil, hand torn, and I like the big leaves of parsley, and there we have a bowl of spring farro. Here we go. To die for. It's only $2.84 a serving, and I know it was a commitment, but this commitment was well worth it. It's delicious, it's smart, it's healthful. We've got this creamy flavor, not from adding cream, but from the cooking method of constantly adding liquid.